The Chargers just lost more than a player. They lost the anchor of their offensive identity. Rashawn Slater, a 52-game starter, gone in one practice snap. Research shows roughly 55% of players with patellar tendon ruptures return to play, but only about 21% regain their prior level. That number doesn't just hurt a season, it can reshape the value of a $113 million contract. So the question becomes less about filling one roster spot and more about whether the foundation the Chargers built can withstand a hit like this. And that's where the real story starts. What happens when the most dependable position on your roster, one your entire offense leans on, disappears in an instant? One moment, the Chargers had their franchise left tackle holding Justin Herbert's blindside. The next, that protection was gone, and along with it, the stability they counted on for years. For 52 straight games, Rashawn Slater had been that constant. He owned the most critical patch of turf on the field, facing down edge rushers whose sole aim was to reach Herbert before the ball left his hand. It's not a flashy job, but it's why Herbert could launch deep passes and why the Chargers could scheme with confidence, knowing one side of the line was sealed. The timing made it worse. This preseason carried real optimism, new weapons for Herbert, an offensive line anchored by what coaches were calling one of the league's best tackle pairings in Slater and rookie Joe Alt. And fresh off a $113 million contract extension to keep Slater in Los Angeles, $92 million of it guaranteed. That deal wasn't just about paying an elite player, it was about doubling down on a philosophy: safeguard your quarterback at all costs. Then came the snap that changed everything. Extensor tendon tears like this are almost always season-ending, about 96% in documented cases. Patellar tendon ruptures in NFL players have only a 55% return to play rate, and just 21% ever get back to their prior level. This isn't a tweak or a setback, it's a career-defining injury with no quick fix. The organizational shift started immediately. Just weeks earlier, defenses had to scheme around a wall on Herbert's left. Now the Chargers front office is evaluating Trey Pipkins III as a potential starter, considering whether to slide Joe Alt over to left tackle and mapping out new protection calls. Every minute they spend on this is time taken from refining the aggressive offense they planned. From a business standpoint, the impact echoes beyond the field. Slater's extension ensures the financial commitment remains, $92 million guaranteed, even as he rehabs. That affects cap allocation, insurance mechanisms, and long-range roster planning. It forces offensive coordinators to redesign plays, shorter drops, more rollouts, tight ends and backs staying in to block. All subtle reductions in the creativity and explosiveness they hope to unleash. And the consequence isn't just for 2025. The choices the Chargers make now, whether to rely on internal depth, seek a trade, or alter their scheme, will influence draft priorities, free agency strategy, and how Herbert's prime aligns with a roster capable of truly contending. Replacing Slater isn't as simple as swapping in another lineman. It changes the chemistry, the assignments, and the trust that holds an offense together. How the Chargers reconfigure that front will determine if they can adapt or if solving one hole risks creating new ones across the line. The loss of Slater triggered more than just a vacancy. It set off a reshuffle across the line. The likely short-term plan: Alt back to left, Pipkins to right. On paper, it puts both men in familiar spots. In reality, there's nothing simple about it. Offensive line play isn't 5 isolated matchups. It's 5 players moving in sync as one unit. Shifting roles mid-season means reworking timing, foot angles, and how each player scans the rush. League data shows both individual players and entire lines usually need time to regain that chemistry after changes. Even a half-second change in a tackle's kickstep can force Herbert to adjust his reads and alter route timing, whether it's consciously or under pressure. That ripple effect reaches every receiver and every throw. Alter brings experience on the left. He started there throughout college and even filled in during the Chargers' final regular season game of 2024 when Slater missed time. That makes the move feasible, but it's still a mid-season reversal after months of work on the right side. Hand placement, stance, and first steps all flip, and the habits drilled since training camp have to be overridden in a matter of days. And while Pipkins has right tackle reps on his resume, the dynamic changes when his opposite bookend is also adjusting. That's the hidden cost of moving 2 positions in one stroke. The synergy built through reps disappears. Guards learn how a specific tackle passes off defenders when he'll hold a double team, or how he'll recover if leverage is lost. These are the unspoken cues ironed out in camp, not on the fly in September. History isn't kind in these scenarios. Rookie tackles who switch sides, even with prior experience, often see a dip in performance before studying. That can show up as lower run blocking grades, protection breakdowns, or simply Herbert feeling more edge heat than before. before. In a tightly packed division race, a few of those moments can turn into swings in the standings. For the Chargers, the upside is they're not throwing an untested backup into the most valuable protection role on the field. They're opting for familiarity where they can. Betting that experience eases the transition. But betting on familiarity isn't the same as betting on continuity. Herbert's early season rhythm, built on a stable pocket and precise timing, now depends on a group relearning how to move as one under live fire. If the physical adjustments settle in quickly, the damage might stay contained to the field. If they don't, the impact could echo into meeting rooms and front offices. So if the on-field fix is fragile, what does this do to the Chargers' financial and long-range plans? In the NFL, the injury report isn't just health news, it's a line item on a financial ledger. A 4-year, $113 million extension with about $92 million guaranteed is more than a reward for past dominance. It's a bet on future availability and performance. You're investing in the idea that a body can withstand years of elite pass rushers, violent collisions, and the relentless torque of hundreds of snaps. The data says that's a precarious wager with patellar tendon ruptures. About 55% of NFL players with this injury return to play at all, which means nearly half never make it back. Only around 21% regain their prior performance level within 2 seasons. And with a mean time to return of about 357 days, you're almost guaranteed to lose a full year of production. For a left tackle, the impact compounds. This is a role where losing even a fraction of strength, agility, or leverage isn't easily hidden, and good enough may not justify elite salary billing. NFL film is filled with examples of tackles who fought back from this injury only for their snap counts to drop, or their pass blocking grades to slip. Extensor tendon ruptures like Slater's carry a tougher long-term effect in the NFL than in other sports, with performance decline often sharper and more persistent. That makes the return on investment question even harder for franchises committing top-tier money to the position. From a business perspective, the guaranteed portion of Slater's contract constrains Los Angeles' options. Whether he's back to full form, easing into a reduced role, or unavailable, that guaranteed money sits on the books. The front office must decide whether to reserve both roster and cap space in expectation of his return, or redirect resources toward building depth and flexibility elsewhere. Every path carries opportunity costs. That choice doesn't just shape the next lineup card, it affects the team's multi-year plan. This roster was built to peak from 2026 through 2028, with what coaches touted as one of the best tackle pairings in football. If that pairing is diminished or replaced, draft boards shift. Free agency targets change, and extension talks with other stars may get restructured with more conservative guarantees. Other teams will be paying attention. If this contract tightens LA's financial flexibility, it could influence how franchises across the league approach guaranteed money for premier tackles, especially those with injury histories. Agents and front offices alike will be recalibrating risk models with this outcome in mind. Slater's situation is more than a setback. It's a real-time case study in how injury volatility can collide with high-stakes financial commitment. And as the Chargers navigate the next steps, the outcome will speak to a larger question that everyone around the league is quietly asking. Slater's injury turns this season into a test of roster philosophy. The decision now is stark. Double down on star talent and accept the volatility that comes with it, or prioritize depth and flexibility, even if it limits peak upside. One choice bets on elite performance returning. The other guards against the collapse one injury can cause. Will this be remembered as the moment that ripped open the Chargers' championship window, or the moment they proved they could survive losing their cornerstone? The next month of moves will show which path they pick. Which path should the Chargers take? Hold the line for Slater or reallocate to depth? Tell me in the comments and explain why.